Given his views, I went ahead and told Rap everything that had happened. He believed me. That was a nice change, in a way. It also made it feel more real. I was shaking while typing. He told me my story reminded him of something he'd heard from another old friend just recently. There was this guy, R0xt4R, or to his closer friends just Reggie, who used to frequent an internet forum on hacking and freaking back in the mid-90s. This guy had a lot of friends there, was well-spoken and clever enough to earn real respect. Over time, as often happens, he just drifted away from the forum. His posts became less frequent as other aspects of life preoccupied him, and soon enough he was gone. The forum strove for anonymity, for obvious reasons. So, no one kept in contact with him. The forum's still there, Rap said. Nowhere near what it used to be, but the regulars like him are dedicated. A few months ago, after 20 years' absence, Reggie suddenly showed up on the forum again. His posts were polite, conversational, but just off somehow. Like someone feigning familiarity. He was just trying so hard. It was weird, but they were happy he was alive and well, so they replied to him and brought him up to date. Then, without acknowledging anything they said, he started making post after post about how his life was revolutionized. He found a whole new frontier of hacking. The hacking begins inside you, he said. And he wanted to show it to them. The forum folk were flabbergasted by his odd behavior, so they started interrogating him. He went silent for about a week. Then he sent one last message, saying, "I love you guys so much," with a tiny URL link. Rap's friend thought it was all a joke and that Reggie was just leading the whole forum up to an epic rickroll. He didn't click it, because he didn't need to hear any Astley and he was busy with something else. He came back to the forum later and decided he was going to go ahead and click the link anyway. It may be something legit. On a whim, he refreshed first to see if anyone replied saying what the link was. He sees a post in reply from a very trusted and respected member of the forum saying, in all caps, "Do not click that link, whatever you do." And that is not Reggie. For an old pro to use all caps? That was serious shit. Even I knew that. So that was enough to dissuade everyone from clicking. The fake Reggie deleted his account immediately. The forum moderator and others tried to figure out who the guy was, but no luck. The guy who made the all-caps post explained after that he tried to safe browse the link with an old Linux box and whatever was in there wrecked it. And that box had security out the wazoo. He couldn't explain it. Also, before the computer wiped out completely, he said he thought he saw something. The regulars pressed him to say what it was. He made them promise first that it stays with them. He said he saw a picture of his daughter on the screen. She died 5 years ago. There were no pictures of her on the computer. Worse, he'd never seen that picture before. That, more than anything, convinced him to post the warning in all caps. Whatever it is, he said, it's evil. Rap added, if you've been on the internet long enough you learn that. There's evil out there. Not the child porn or torture videos. Something deeper. Something hidden in all the code and connections. Maybe it came from us at one point. He was giving me the creeps. So I tried to bring the subject back to Angelica. He said, no, listen. Sometimes it tries to get out. That was enough. I told him he was freaking me out with that kind of talk and I had enough to deal with. He said he didn't understand what I was talking about. He still reads my homepage all the time and that I've been doing great work exposing the evil. Thing is, I don't even have a homepage anymore. That thing was taken down in like 2001. He insisted it was my Fortune City homepage. He'd been reading my updates all these years, even after we lost contact, he said. I sent him a link to prove to him that Fortune City doesn't even exist anymore. Rap went quiet for a few minutes. Then he said he was looking at the homepage at that moment. It was last updated just a few days ago. And it was all about what they were talking about now and what was going to happen next. It's a doozy, he said, then immediately went offline. I sent him a message with my contact info and to let me know if he was okay. I haven't heard from him since. I've checked ICQ a few times and he's never been back online. I had to walk away from that computer. I felt like I was being watched or something. Every noise was freaking me out. After a sandwich and some tea, I went back just to shut it down. That's when I noticed a folder on the desktop that stood out. For one, I never really kept folders on my desktop. And two, I didn't remember this folder at all. It was called Noah's Cape, which sounds like a crappy Bible game. I never played crappy Bible games. Something about it didn't seem right. I opened it. Inside was all pictures and WAV files. My instincts told me to get out of there. One picture after another was just kids. Teens, boys and girls, sitting at their computers. None of them seemed aware they were being photographed. The pics all seemed pointless. All I knew for sure is I didn't take or download those pictures. Ever.
They were all time-stamped November 21st, 1999.
The WAV files were the sounds of typing, muttering, chairs moving. The sounds of people at a computer. The sounds of surveillance. Until one of the files. It was a voice I'd never heard before. I know it. Because I don't think anything could have made me forget that voice. It was a hollow, metallic voice, almost inhuman, but a man. It whispered with a hiss, "You coming?" and its whispers were like flesh sizzling on iron. Nothing of this earth should talk like that. What it said, it was the same as Angelica's message. Also from 99. I shut down the computer and left the house. I didn't even want to be in my own home. I just drove around for a while. Thinking. Whatever was going on, it was really not good. Yet, I couldn't let it go. I felt drawn into something secret and I wanted to figure it out. For Angelica's sake, too. If she really was a victim. I decided to contact my buddy Ben. He's a real computer wizard, works IT at the University of Guelph. I know that may not sound like the most prestigious place to be, but they actively poached him. He's good. Anyway, I gave Ben an idea of what was going on and asked if he could get a lock on that Gopher site for me. I also asked if he could safely do it, to see if there was anything to this whole site. He said that wouldn't be a problem. The next day he already comes back to me with the question, is this some sort of a joke? I don't like wasting my time. I'd never seen Ben even slightly irritated before, but he was mad. He told me when he traced the Gopher site, it turned out it was being hosted right there at the University of Guelph. But they didn't have a Gopher site, he said. Never have. I assured him if it was a joke, I wasn't in on it. So he said he'd try to find the server tower it was running on. If he could do that, he could read the logs, find out who set up the damn thing. While I was waiting for Ben to get back to me, I got a call from a detective there alt. The police hadn't shown much interest in my case, but it happened to land in front of this guy. Thankfully. He said the simple fact that Angelica had disappeared meant there was the possibility that a crime had taken place. I agreed. Because of that, he had done a little more work and he felt I should know he found Angelica. When he told me she was alive and well, I was thrilled. He said she voluntarily ran away from home and chose not to have contact with her family. She declined to say why, and he had no right to compel her otherwise. Legally, he was bound to protect her privacy. The point is, there was no crime. However, when he told her how it came about that he went looking for her, she asked him if she could speak to me. He said he took the liberty of accepting for me and passed on her phone number. I thanked him heartily. It was the first bit of good news, the first real break in this mess. As soon as I hung up with the detective, I called her. I was nervous. It had been so long and I was excited to hear from her again.